Boom, we are live Thursday evening. Hope everybody is well. Extra podcast this week, guys. We've got, sometimes we got to spoil you. I got to bless you guys with a little extra. So this evening's a great one, guys. It's this is something we haven't done before, but something that's always interested me. We have had some folks in this industry on, but on episode 4 of the original podcast, like way back in the day, and it's a whole other era. This is going to be a fascinating conversation, hugely tied into beer and how that influenced a whole other company, essentially. So I'm excited for this one. I'm just going to get right into it. This is episode 54. Okay. What's good, y'all? This is Cee, Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 54 of Beer and Other Shit, the podcast, Adjunct Series, Quarantine Edition. This evening, we have something a little different. Although, I'm just going to get into it straight away, and then we're going to tell you why this is fire. All the way from Pembroke, Massachusetts, we have Nick Phelps from Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff. Nick, there he is. Welcome, brother.
Oh, well, thank you.
Look at that. Got all the kids out.
Too much.
How you doing, man?
Fantastic. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, mate, I am awesome, and it's genuinely my pleasure. Mate, this is great. I'm super excited to get into all this tonight because you guys have, I have been genuinely using your products now for about 3 months straight, which is not really something I have typically used as far as all beard products. But I'm, after chatting today and getting into, a bit, lightly on what you're about, what you guys do, and how beer brought about this company, I'm super excited to get more into it. And on that note, sir, shall we crack the beer?
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd never ask.
Please tell me about the beer you're drinking, and this beer specifically, if I understand correctly, influenced one of the first products we're going to be talking about.
It did. It influenced, well, first of all, it influenced my love for New England craft beer. This is Maine Beer Company's Lunch IPA.
Nice.
Which most
Classic.
people don't know why it's called Lunch.
No, can you please tell me?
That might be interesting for people listening in here.
Yes.
I was sitting around and I was in Maine. I was at this bar and I ordered a lunch, and the guy asked me, "Do you know why it's called Lunch?"
Okay.
I said, "Well, because I usually drink one at lunch." Probably. No was the answer. It's named after a whale that lives and is known to surface around the areas of southern coastal Maine, and it has a big shark bite taken out of one of its fins.
Oh.
And they said that whale was a shark's lunch one day. So and everyone just started calling the whale Lunch. So they named their first really popular IPA after the whale.
That's so cool. That's awesome, actually.
A little bit of Maine trivia for you.
Do you know, that's honestly amazing, because the funny thing is the reason why we know each other is with my friend Giles, and I had lunch for the first time in his pub when he had that in Vermont. Do you know why the other one's called Dinner?
I don't.
No. We should probably find out. If anyone knows, please let us know.
Probably should. You know what? Actually, hold on. So I do know, at least I know the story, and I don't know if this is the one from the brewer or not, like the other story was, but it's a double IPA. So if Lunch is their regular single IPA, double the food, you get dinner, maybe double the ABV, double the hops, you get dinner for a beer. Double
the bite out of the whale.
Double the bite. Yeah. Yep.
I think that could be
the whole whale that time.
The whole whale, god damn it. Yeah, I'm gonna top that up for you. Really quick, I am drinking the this one here. It's called Fresh Start from Mikkeller out of Denmark. They as a company, obviously for this episode we weren't able to get the same stuff, obviously different countries, but it's all good. There's a company in Toronto called Craft Brewing Co, and they brew Omnipolo, Lervig, and Mikkeller out of Toronto by license from these guys, which is sick. So that ensures that it's a fresh IPAs and stuff like that in market, as opposed to holding all these delicate kind of hoppy beers like across seas and and dealing with all the regulations to get them in. So it's a nice little.
That's really cool. Mikkeller does some really unique stuff. I got to give it to him. Like I've been to their brew pub in San Francisco. I've been to their brew pubs all over, and they just have really cool beer, and they attract really cool partner brew relationships and do cool collaborations. But not to sidetrack too much, I think my favorite Mikkeller story has got to be, I was in Iceland and we were looking for a place to have lunch, and we're looking on like I usually do. I look on Google Maps where I am and then type in food, and then I kind of zoom in and look for pins. And yeah, it's
the best way to roll, right?
Yeah, very sophisticated way of looking. Hope no one steals my good idea there. And what popped up was Mikkeller and Friends was there, and they have a little pub in downtown Reykjavik.
That's so
smart. We go there, and we're sitting there having lunch. We're having a beer, and there's like a little beer fridge that has some cans in it, kind of over next to the bar. Mm-hmm. And you'll never believe what I saw in the fridge.
Talk to me.
I saw Focal Banger.
Oh, okay.
I saw Heady Topper and Focal Banger sitting in a fridge in Iceland. I'm like, wait a minute. We can't get this stuff in Massachusetts, and we're like 2 states away. And here I am in Iceland. Like, what is this stuff doing here?
What is happening?
My first question wasn't, how did you get it? It was can I have one? Like, can I drink it right now, please?
Right. Of course. That's step one.
But it was like so bizarre. Apparently what the guy does is he just sends, he FedExes himself just product to his various places around the world.
Okay.
3-tier system be damned.
Right. I was going to say, I imagine that wouldn't be through the proper functions, but you know what? Whatever gets the job done.
That's it. Stick it in the box.
Yo, I love that. That's awesome. That would be, I hope it was fresh at least.
It was. It was fantastic. And they were even nice enough to send us some to go in our backpack so we could enjoy them later in the evening. It was fantastic.
That's beer people for you, man. Always the best. Mm-hmm. I love it.
That's what it was.
So the beer you are drinking now is kind of more of a West Coast, a little bit of an older school IPA, if I'm not mistaken, from when I had it.
It is. It is. Yep.
And that is the beer that influenced this product here. We're going to get some history on the company first. There she is. This is the Beard Beer IPA Beard Oil, which I am wearing right now alongside, we're going to talk about this after, but Nick's special concoction with the beard balm, the combo with the number 7 right there. There she is. And honestly, my face smells like a goddamn glorious fruit bowl, piney sex beast. That's what I feel like, goddammit.
I love it. I love that. Can we use that on the website? That's
yes.
Our original quote for it was that, your beard smells like you were out in the woods doing some man stuff. And after you got done arm wrestling Paul Bunyan for his blue ox and won, you found your way home and smelled like some of this stuff.
Yours is kind of better there. It's a little,
can we hold that
up? The beer or the oil? That? Yeah. So we're getting the photos as we roll. So
look at that.
All right. See, this is content creation, Nick. It's how you got to get down. That's what we do.
Action shots. I love it.
That's the best way. Look, see, I like this. I'm being guided. See the guidance right here? I like it.
I love the mystery hand.
The hand just comes in. She's
Where's
a pro.
My mystery hand?
I know. You need a hoe. You got an extra hand there? Got an extra hand? So, you know what we need to do? We need to let's get into the history of what you do first, and then we're going to really talk about this. And for the beer nerds watching, you and I got into a little bit this afternoon. So I'm really keen to get into more because the way that you have been able to channel your love of beer and craft beer and into these products is honestly exceptional. And then the things that you have in the works, mind-blowing with the people that you're going to be working with. Bit of a hint on your chest right there, sir.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit of a, spoiler alert,
right?
No big deal. And the hat. It's like I'm doing
you're going to both.
I'm trying to subliminal messaging here. Like, what are we looking at? I don't even know.
I don't know if they're ready for this.
It's such a mystery.
It is,
man.
Right?
So what a journey Dr. Nick's amazing man stuff has been. I've been involved in the beer industry for a long time. I did photography for beer events for a long time. So Extreme Beer Fest and Great American Beer Festival and lots of the hot jams and stuff that took place up in Vermont, some of Sean Lawson's events, and just sort of a circle of friends. They don't like outside kind of, the stuffy photographers there. And we were already friends, and I did lots of concert photography.
Right.
And so they kind of were like, hey, you shoot, metal bands on stage. You think you could manage to take pictures of some beer and us pouring it and people drinking it, maybe drink some yourself. So it was a natural shoe-in there. And so that kind of led to brewing a bunch of beer with people and brewing a bunch of beer myself. And so along that path, of course, being involved in the beer industry, I had to grow a beard. And so that was
mandatory.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was. It's like they give you the wristband, but they're like, "Are you working on a beard, or do you have plans for one?" You know,
you took it really far. You took it really far.
Because if not, you can get the fuck out. Yeah,
we're done.
And so, so it was interesting. So it was back 2013 time frame or so, I would guess. And so as I got more of a beard going, it was time to, I'm Welsh and Irish, so my skin is naturally pretty sensitive. And as I was growing more of a beard, I started getting some, ingrowns along the neckline once in a while, and the little bumps along the cheeks. And
worst.
I was kind of reading blogs about how to tame that down, and it was beard oil was kind of the answer that everybody was sort of talking about, softening the follicles and making it less harsh on your skin, those sorts of things. And so I started buying beard products, and I had just terrible luck. I probably went through about 20 different products, and every beard oil I tried made the problem worse. It didn't make it better at all. They were either greasy and didn't do much at all, or they smelled great. And then they made my skin break out. I was getting, beard dandruff from being dry, and I didn't know why. So I started researching, reached out to a friend of mine who does esthetician work, and another friend of mine that's kind of an apothecary guy, a naturalist. And they said it was probably because of the fragrance oils, or maybe some alcohol-based ingredients, or otherwise just irritating ingredients. And so I started looking, and sure enough, all the beard oils that I found on Amazon, and the ones I found from the big names, like, we won't name any names, but people that have been on Shark Tank and other big white label beard companies, they all had something in common, and it was fragrance oil. And it turned out my skin just had a terrible reaction to fragrance oil. And so I started talking again to this apothecary person that's been doing this, doing essential oil work and natural remedy work with skin and hair care for, 40, 50 years. And he was suggesting that, why don't you just make your own? Use essential oils to get the scents that you like, instead of relying on these terrible skin drying fragrance oils. And so I did. I kind of set out. I'm an engineer. I like figuring things out, and I made something I really liked. And then so it was probably about a couple months after that I figured, hey, why don't I take, what I've made for an oil recipe and combine it with what I know about brewing beer. And so I figured it would be really cool if I took my base oil and I steeped it with hop cones. So I took some hop pellets and then some other Cascade dried hop flour, and I literally aged my beard oil like you would dry hop a beer. I dry hopped my beard oil, and it imparted this awesome aroma of like this nice musty kind of a hops and citrusy and floral, and all the nice notes that you get out of like a West Coast IPA were all of a sudden in my beard oil.
Do you remember what hops you used?
What's that?
Do you remember which hops you used?
So the first one was Citra and Cascade hops. I was going straight like West Coast kind of style, crisp, clean, light, zesty, floral, kind of going for those notes. I kind of just smelling a lunch kind of just gave me the, kind of all the inspiration I needed.
I love it.
And then, so from that, beard beer was born. I started taking it with me. We kind of worked up some label art with an artist I know, and it was in the name that we came up with was very much based on like the old, snake oil salesman out of like the old horse and buggy selling things in the old West, like Dr. Nick's amazing man stuff, right? And very overdrawn, long name, over the top. And I started bringing it to these beer events that I was going to, and finding other bearded beer lovers and saying, hey, give this a shot. And next thing I know, I couldn't make enough of this stuff. And then, next came the stout, which we'll talk about, next. But it was really interesting. It wasn't one of those things where I set out at any point to make men's cosmetics. Right? I didn't ever have it in my mind that I was going to go necessity. And then out of that necessity kind of infused my love for beer. And beard beer was born, and so was Dr. Nick's amazing man stuff along with it.
I love it. So it started really the whole company, which obviously has expanded beyond just the beer. There are other, oil products to my left just here that we'll show shortly. But the beer stuff was the genesis of everything.
It really was. It was. That's really what kicked it off. And what was interesting is immediately afterwards we started doing some other stuff with other just creative type groups. We did stuff with a band. I'm sure you might, other people listening might know the band Guar. And so we started working with the metal band Guar, who are some bearded guys, and we started kind of working with them to make some stuff with their label art on it. And we just sort of just getting creative and doing cool stuff.
Dope.
The dry hopping beard oil and cask aging beard oil, we've aged it in oak barrels. We've aged it on top of cocoa nibs and coffee beans and vanilla. We've done all sorts of just weird stuff that you wouldn't normally do with beard oil. And it's all been very small batch. It's all been very much, we've kept everything in house, from the artwork to the labeling to the bottling, to the creation, formulation, all the way through to bottling and sanitization and distribution. We've never outsourced anything. We kept it very much feeling like how craft beer should feel, made in one facility and sold to people directly from that facility. We kind of not only embraced the recipe ideas, but also embraced sort of the way of doing business and keeping things sustainable, small, and small batch with lots of care and attention. We always like to say that we spend too much money on our ingredients and too much time on our products, and we really hope that people would stop encouraging us to do that.
That's straight up craft beer shit right there, bro. I love it. That is really cool. So I'm not sure if you mentioned it earlier, but like, obviously, you've been involved in the beer industry, and you have a love of beer. You're brewing, whether it's home brewing or working at other places. But what made you, when you needed to create your own oils for your own, to suit your own skin? I really feel like the best businesses on the planet are usually from the owners having to fulfill or solve a problem of their own that the market isn't solving, and that's obviously other people would have that problem too. Did you? I'm not sure if you said it before. Why did you want to? Why was it beer that you were like, hey man, if I got to put some stuff on my face, let's make it smell like beer? Like where did that come from?
It's interesting actually. Where that was kind of born was just the love for hops. I mean, I really can't come up with any other reason besides that. It's like I really just, I loved the idea of, because if you look at the scent profile of the IPA, it says right on the back, citrus, pine, and hops. So, I wanted something that was citrusy. My favorite beard oils are the ones that I tried that didn't work on my face were the citrusy ones. Like they had lime zest and kind of limes and lemon peels, and those in orange and sort of mandarin, and those sorts of, they wake you up in the morning. It's good for the senses. And when going over that with the apothecary person, there's like a whole psychology side to what smells you introduce to your body at what times of the day. And citrus is a very awakening sort of an aroma that, from an aromatherapy perspective. So that's where we started. And I wanted to get something like that. And I don't know really what put it in my head that, hey, let's dry hop this beard oil and increase this aroma profile with hops. I think it was, I don't know. I don't like doing things that other people have already done. And after looking out there, no one had done that. So I figured if I was going to make something for myself and I was going to make something that I liked, why not do it in a way that no one else has really done and try something new, and then immediately after the IPA, was in my head. I'm like, oh man, now I need something for when I need to reapply in the evening and I'm going to go out to dinner or go somewhere. It'd be awesome to have a more like a rich sort of a smell, and that's where the stout came in, right? And we kind of started infusing it with coffee and cocoa nibs, and really started getting some cool profiles out of that as well. And we were talking earlier, and obviously we've kind of gone away from our 1 gallon batches of dry hopped oil. It wasn't exactly sustainable.
Right.
There was problems with shelf life from particulate from the hops staying in the oil, which the mortal enemy of any sort of natural carrier oil is oxygen. And
Of course,
whenever you have small particulates and things, it's just a carrier for potential oxygen. So
right.
we've since switched to using hops essential oils. No hops extract, but literal hops essential oils pressed from pounds and pounds of dried hop flour.
Okay.
And yeah, and that was the answer. Like we have this, this cascade, steam distilled humulus. I mean, it is just amazing stuff, and it was perfect for what we needed. It was the exact profile that came from our dried flour, and it had a better shelf life. And in my opinion, it was just more effervescent, had a better smell to it at the end of the day.
That's awesome. We did not talk about that earlier. That's sick, man. So then a bit of a 101 question. What is the difference between an essential oil and a fragrance oil? Like the essential oils sound like they're more the intense stuff, and fragrance oils are probably a cheaper substance that would be used in the bigger box stuff.
Yeah. Yep. So you can buy fragrance oils by the gallon. They're manufactured in huge chemical facilities, and they're typically alcohol based. So
Okay.
they have an alcohol based, and the fragrances themselves come from just lots of, just like perfumes, lots of artificial ingredients that go into it. There's probably, 50 to 100 ingredients in each fragrance oil. So if you look at the bottom or the back of a bottle of beard oil, one of the ingredients there will be fragrance oil. Or it'll just say fragrance. And typically you're allowed to list it at the end of the list of ingredients because it's a minority ingredient compared to the carrier oils. But the fragrance oil itself can have anywhere upwards of 100 different ingredients and chemicals inside the fragrance profiles they build. And one of the things you can look for is fragrances that are really, that wouldn't be naturally derived, like leather, smoke, tobacco, those sorts of fragrances. That's a dead giveaway. Like you can't extract essential oil from leather. It doesn't work. And so if you're building that aroma profile, it's very much an artificial fragrance. And something else that people will use along with fragrance oils, which is kind of one step better, would be an absolute, which is an alcohol extracted version of an essential oil. You soak natural botanicals in alcohol, and then you distill that down, and what you're left with is a concentrated essence of that botanical. Yeah. And
is that
so
like making vanilla essence at home, where you can put vanilla beans in vodka and let it sit for like 3 months or something?
Yeah, that's essentially making that essentially is an absolute. Not the brand of vodka, but what you end up with there is essentially an absolute extraction, right?
Right.
And the nice part about it is, from a manufacturing perspective, is you need a lot less of the plant material to make it. Like if you have a lavender absolute, you can derive a half gallon of absolute from 10 pounds of lavender. Whereas with essential oils, they're all CO2 or just cold press extracted. And what you end up getting from that is like 100 pounds ends up making about 8 fluid ounces. So the amount of material, that goes into essential oils is far greater than any other extraction method, which makes it unwieldy for mass production of most products.
Gotcha.
It's funny. You can go on Alibaba and look up white label beard oil, and you will find manufacturers in China that are willing to ship you with your name on it, with your label art, already pre-bottled beard oil mixtures with any scent profile you'd like. And you can buy them if you buy 1,000 of them at a time, you get them for about 70 cents a bottle.
Right.
And what's funny is you can look at the bottles and look at the labels and look at the font, and you can pretty much identify, 8 out of 10 beard oils you'll find on the first page of Amazon. And if you search Google for beard oil and you find some of the big names that everybody knows, keeping a mental image of what those bottles look like, go on Alibaba and do a search, you'll find those for 70 cents a bottle.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so, I mean, our end cost is far higher per bottle, what you end up with. I mean, we were talking about it a bit, like essential oils are one thing, and we go way beyond just essential oils. Like the stuff that we use in our stout and what we use in our IPA. We actually ship into Massachusetts all the way from the Big Island of Hawaii. And they're actually created by a woman who works with a Reiki priest. And they actually Reiki bless every essential oil before they bottle it. They take it super duper serious. And
That's
the
crazy.
stuff is, some of it goes for, $90 a fluid ounce.
Jeez.
It's, yeah, it's not
Right.
inexpensive, but like
Sounds
this
legit.
hops essential oil you get here, this little tiny guy of hops cold pressed essential oil cascade, it goes for, $80 for, what is this? A little, 10 milliliters. It's a third of a fluid ounce.
Jesus.
And so we use it efficiently, to
Right.
make the cost aspect of it work.
That's amazing.
But you can find hops fragrance oil out there and you can get 5-ounce bottles of it for $20 on Amazon.
Gotcha.
So it's like,
So
there's just
do the
a
math,
difference in the way. Yeah, you got to really do your homework if you're looking for something that's all natural and you're looking for something that's, actually craft, right?
Yeah.
It's not just the label art that's important when you do that. It's very much what's inside the bottle and where the ingredients come from.
That's like, honestly, I didn't know any of this stuff, eh? Like, and I feel like and this is probably one of the challenges is educating the market from your side.
It is.
Yeah.
It's tough. It is. Like, we're right at the price point of most others, around $20 a bottle. There's some cheaper, there's some more, right? What's interesting about that, disregarding like the essential oils for a second, even just our base oils, right? When we first set out to do this, like I say, I worked with an apothecary guy with, 40, 50 years of experience. And he's this, a guy from northern Maine, old hippie dude. And he's like, well, you can't grow a forest full of trees without healthy soil. He's like, Nick, I really think you need to focus on an oil that really treats the skin, not so much the hair. And I'm like, listen, I'm making beard oil. I'm not making face oil.
Right.
I'm kind of, I was learning at that time too. And, what I really learned was like the healthier your skin is, the healthier your beard will be. Right. And the red bumps and the flakes and everything else don't come from the hair. It comes from the skin. So there's stuff in ours, namely the ingredient that makes a big difference on the skin is Barrage Oil.
Okay.
And it's something, and it's something that's really interesting. It's strictly an astringent sort of a skin care clarifying oil that's made for your skin. And the only other beard oil out there that uses it, that I've found that uses it at the quantities that we do, is made by Tom Ford. And, Tom Ford makes some super high end stuff, and he sells his 1-ounce bottles of that oil unscented for $50. So I think it's like $52.
Okay.
And so our closest competitor that actually uses our ingredients is, over twice the price. But then what's interesting about the market is like, people don't understand that certain things that they're using are bad for their skin. And some people don't have a reaction to it, so if they don't have a problem, there's nothing for you to solve.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of a challenge is having people understand, the benefits of natural ingredients and natural essential oils and nothing artificial. But the crazy part is that even people that are doubters, like my favorite thing to do on our Facebook posts is find people that say, yeah, so you're trying to sell me a pig and a poke for $20 and I don't even know what it smells like. You get these guys giving you hell. And I've converted every single one of them. It's literally like my Monday mission. I go through our Facebook comments and find trolls of people that are like, I buy all beard oil for 2 ounces for $12 on Amazon. And I'm like, I comment them, I message them, and I'm like, ours is different, and let me prove it to you. I want to send you a product, and I want to change your thoughts on this. Like, I'll give you your money back if you don't like it. I'll ship it for free, whatever it takes. Let's get some of this in your hands. And every single one of those people that has literally trolled us on Facebook, I've trolled them back with positivity and put our products in their hands, and they've been repeat customers. Every single one.
I love it. I love that. I just said that to Tiffany today, my partner, with whenever we get people who put like negative comments on any of our YouTube stuff, you always come back, you hit them with that positivity. They can't say shit back. It's beautiful. I love that.
It's crazy how that works. They're very rarely ever combative, like when directly confronted too, is the funny part. They think that they're making these comments about like some big company or something, that doesn't read them or doesn't, if But when they leave something on the Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff page, Dr. Nick reads them, you know, and I reply, and it's really funny when you get the reaction of, oh, well, sorry, you know, I just didn't know. Yeah,
because they're not used to it, and they all of a sudden you disarm them, because then if you came back to them with some attitude, then they're going to be like, yes, that's what I wanted. Then it's a fight. Yeah. But if you come back to them, hey, I understand where you're coming from. This is why we're different. And then they're like, oh, wow, he's being completely reasonable. So it's like, you know, you can't, there's nothing, exactly. And there's nothing they can do. But I imagine that the people who do, once they try it and they see the difference, to be like, I've had beard oil that I've used over the years, not something regular, but I have really enjoyed using this stuff since, like I said, since January, I think is when I got it. And I tried all the different products, which I guess we'll talk about in a sec, just to show the range where the beard beer started, and then how it kind of grew from there. But I feel like the ethos behind this is really what people need to know about, because particularly, you know, with our audience being craft beer people, and anything craft we love, we're all about it. If any products, whether, you know, like our friend makes these necklaces, she's a metalsmith. It's like a hop. You can't really see it, but it's like a hop. She made a little growler.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's one chick in Cambridge, Ontario, is a good friend of ours, and she makes them, and they're expensive because she makes them, like, well, expensive for, like, a necklace. It's not, like, gold or anything, but she hand-carved these damn things, and, like, you know, people, and she does really well in the beer world, because people know that she made that, and, like, you know, most of the beer nerds in Ontario and stuff would have her jewelry. If you're into that, then they're going to be wearing it. And I think yours really fits into the same category, in that if you want to really take care of yourself and you want to support somebody who's a family-owned business, it's not in, you know, no big company behind it or investors or anything like that, who also have the care and thoughtfulness behind it, that you're like, no, we're not going to use these cheap oils. We're going to use more expensive stuff, but also we're not going to bleed you for it. Which is very kind of you guys to only charge like 20. I think I saw these like $21, $22, something like this online. US,
yeah, $20
on your website, which is amazing. Like, this is that's the beauty of all of this stuff, is that they all smell so crazy. Oh, that's what we were talking about today. I definitely want to do a smell tasting. I don't know what you got. A smelling. What's it called? There's got to be a name for it.
Yeah, because, you know, after 2 more beers, you say the word tasting notes, and I'll be sipping this bottle. It's going to end really poorly.
We do not want that at all, Nick. We do not want that. So maybe, do you know what? Maybe I'll show, between us, we both have the product. Maybe we'll just show some of the other product before we get to the stout soon. We'll show some of the other products, and then I'd love for you just to talk me through it. Like, it's something you and I realized today. It'd be super sick. You know, we don't have the same beer, but we have the same oils here, so we'll be able to you know, talk through some of the things. So this is the stout one. I mean, it looks basically the same as far as the you know, the artwork and stuff. Super clean, nice and attractive. Same, basically the same. It's a little yellower, maybe. Basically the same color as the IPA.
And the essential oils kind of give it a little variation in color, which is another giveaway when you're looking at fragrance oils, because they're all made to be, you know, uniform across pretty much every product. So ours all vary. You know, you hold up, like, you look at some of these kind of across the gamut, and I mean, they all have a slightly different
color, different shade. Yeah, you're totally right.
And they all have the same base carrier oils, so it's all the same carrier oil recipe. But we can kind of, let's just run through them. We can start with the IPA. You know, we kind of talked about it a bit, but it's citrus and pine and hops. And when you smell it, the first thing I smell when I smell it is like lime, skins, and Citra and Cascade hops. I smell Cascade hops like right up front. And you really do get like that little bit of a musty hop smell to it, backed up with like that fresh kind of lime zest sort of a smell.
Definitely getting the citrus. I always feel like my first thought was like the pine. Like, and it wasn't overwhelming. It's like that. It's sort of coming with this like woodsy pineness, that pininess that wasn't. It's almost like the backbone of it. Yeah,
and you know, I love the pine in it, and finding something that worked with pine, it was really tough actually finding one that worked, because a lot of them smelled too Christmas tree-y, or you know, they smelled like sap, or they smelled like a lot of the ones out there you can find that say they're pine actually smell a lot like cedar. You get like that kind of hamster cage smell to them, and I just wasn't a fan. And what I found was Siberian fur, and Siberian fur essential oil actually lent itself really, really well to giving you like a nice light sort of a pine smell. It's like a Christmas tree just kind of went through your room, and then you kind of smelled it, but it's not there anymore. Yeah.
And that's
so
perfect.
With all of them, we all like to with all of them, we like the fragrance to be on your face, not in your face. So they're all, as far as beard oils go, they are a bit muted compared to other ones that you'll find. And I don't want to walk into a room and have someone be like, "Oh, what cologne are you wearing?" "Oh, sorry, it's my beard." I don't want that. I just kind of want something that's refreshing and smells good when it's there with you. Not for everyone else in your car or your conference room to enjoy with you.
Yes, I 100% agree. This is really like, I don't want to keep using beer terms because I don't know shit about smelling, but like it's like, it feels like super balanced between the musty, woody pininess and then like that. There's like this sweet, citrusy kind of thing that's like, it's not the back, because I feel like the undertones are more the piney stuff, but the sweetness is just sort of rounds it out. Like it's none of these are over. I've obviously used all of these many times now. You can tell how much I have left. But I don't know, is balance the word for this?
Yeah. Balance. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I'd love to think that. And I mean, when you're dealing with such polar opposite fragrances too, you think of pine. I guess pine and Cascade hops aren't that polar opposite, but it is tough to find a balance. It is.
I can imagine.
And a natural. We can skip the stout. We'll talk about the stout when we crack.
Good point.
Let's skip over and go to the number 7. You have the number 7 oil there.
I have a 0 and a 9.
Okay, let's go to the 9.
Okay, you can still tell me about the 7 because this is skipping ahead, but I have the 7 balm.
Oh, there we go. And it's the same
it's the same
profile.
scent. So let's do the 7, but I'll do the balm instead, and maybe you can talk about both products.
Yeah, let's do it. This is good. What we did with the Signature Series is we wanted to give people some kind of consistency across different products.
Yeah.
So, we kind of came up with the Signature Series and we numbered all the fragrances. So that way you can have a number 9 or a number 7 balm and a number 7 oil. You mentioned it earlier, my favorite combo is I like using the numbers, the IPA oil, and then using the number 7 balm afterwards. So the oil for moisture, you get that in after the shower, and then you style with the balm with the number 7. And I just love the combo because the base kind of fragrance of number 7 again is lime zest, citrus fruit, and pine. And this one has some different notes to it. So it's a little different. It's not just the same oil minus the hops. It's slightly different. It has a little bit of a little more floral of a note to it, I'd say.
And even,
which is,
definitely a little floral. Look, even just the way this works, it works like a deodorant stick or something like.
Yeah. And see, again, just me doing things different, being the mad scientist that I am sometimes, what I always had a problem with beard balm in a tin. So like the instructions for the tin tell you to take the back of your thumbnail and you scrape it out of the tin. Yep. And then you put it on your palm and you warm it up. So my problem was, and maybe it's just because, I don't know, maybe I'm slow. I never figured out exactly like the right mixture, the right amount to use. I always used too much. My beard got greasy or it got waxy. And then I'd have like this layer of balm on my hands. And so when I made the stick, my thought was, okay, I can just rub it on my palm and then put it on my beard. And then the first time I did that, I'm literally in the bathroom with a prototype of the product that we've made in a tube. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can put it straight on my beard. And so I literally hold my beard at the end and I grab the sideburns and I just literally draw it down the sideburns, down on the ends, you work your way around. And what ends up happening is the hair just pulls off the amount of balm that it wants off the stick. And once it has a coating of the balm, it's because it has a little bit of a wax to it for the styling property, it stops pulling more out. So like you can keep putting it on the same spot. You don't overdo it. Like it doesn't put more on. It kind of pulls what it wants and then it goes away. And what's best about it is you can literally sit there with your mustache and do one of these.
Yeah, a little and the dough.
Boom. And then you got a little styling agent there in your mustache, all without, nothing on your fingers. You still got nice clean hands. And so the stick really did work out well. And the fragrance, I think, of the number 7 complements like
It's
the IPA
gorgeous.
oil really well.
Yeah, man. And as soon as you told me this afternoon, that's the first thing I did. As soon as I got to shower, did the old the IPA and this, and it was great. I was I think I told you when we were talking, it's like the first time I realized I was doing on my palm, putting the beard, the balm on the palm, and rub it on. I was like, this doesn't feel right. And then I actually read the damning instructions, and it tells you to do what you said. And I was like, and the first time I went, I was like painting myself. I was like, yeah, sick. And then I was like, oh shit, I went too hard. But I felt like for me it was a little hard, but maybe for some people, obviously I'm not going anywhere. Maybe if I was going somewhere, I'd want to maybe like really tuck this bottom under a bit more and pull this
a little
front
more
out.
Structure.
I don't have I got a fraction of what you got, but like, I've noticed that this just putting the oils on every day just really like tames the beard down and allows me to just brush it down. And you described it to me earlier. I think it was tame was the word or something else, but it's not like wild and straggly. Even if you're at home, you don't want to feel like
all the snaggle hairs. Yeah, exactly. Like
allows you to control it.
And underneath, that's a key point. It's like you get these, if you kind of pull it down, if you have a longer beard, you get like this under stuff that kind of hangs out, right?
Yeah.
If you want to kind of keep that tucked in, it's nice to be able to kind of give it one of these on the neckline almost and pull it up, and then you can kind of get one of those, and it really does hold it all together.
Yeah,
it keeps it nice and smooth.
It's really fantastic, but that's a great combo. So then you've got the number 7 is this. I think arguably until we smell the 9, but this is like probably my fave. With that, the citrus is so bright in this one. It's like it's glorious. I love it.
You're not supposed to say you have favorite children, and just like when you may sell products, I don't think you're supposed to say you have a favorite. The 7 is by far my favorite fragrance.
Got to run with it.
The IPA and the 7 are tied. As far as the bombs go, though, the number 7 is the way to go for me. And so I mentioned I worked with an old apothecary hippie from Maine.
Yes.
To come up with a lot of these fragrance profiles and to come up with some of the, the way that we kind of formulated these. And number 9 it makes that quite obvious. It's actually, this may be dating me. Well, I can date the guy who helped me come up with it. But number 9 is actually a direct replica of the 1970s recipe for Spanish fly.
Is that the shit that's like, that's the horny thing, isn't it?
That's like exactly. The
aphrodisiac pill or whatever.
It's an aphrodisiac scent. And the way they get that aphrodisiac scent to it is it has neroli, it has orange blossom, it has sandalwood, it has lavender. Oof. It's a very it's pleasing. Nice. It's almost floral, but it's very, very manly at the same time. Like the sandalwood really does give you this nice kind of a manly sort of a scent to it while still being light. It's something that's attractive. But for some reason instills sort of a masculinity.
Oh man, do you know what's interesting? Like I said, I've used these every day. I just go, okay, what am I doing today? I haven't used that one I tried to rotate through to try them all and stuff. And I didn't really take the time to consider the fragrances as much. And so this is actually really like enlightening for me right now. This is gorgeous in a whole different way.
It is. It's like, you're right. Especially, I don't know what it is about the balm. Like the balm captures, I think that the fragrance profile of 9, in my opinion, actually works better in the balm than it even does in the oil.
Yeah.
It really comes through. And it's great. Like it's one of those ones where I use that solo. Like if I'm using that one, I'll use the number 9 oil and the number 9 balm together. They're in the the sandalwood and the neroli and the orange blossom. It all just kind of comes together and it's really nice. Every time I put it on, like my son, he's 8, and I can walk downstairs when he's getting ready for school. He's like, "Oh, Dad, you wearing number 9 today? That smells so good."
What a champion!
He can't wait to have a beard so he can wear number 9.
As soon as he's 11,
he's like, "When's my beard?" Yeah, it's like his Christmas list this year: new skateboard, beard.
We could, there's ways we can make that happen. I'm sure. Science is
with our advances in genetic science, I'm sure he can have a beard in no time.
Oh, not even a question. So this is another one I thought was super interesting, was the zero, which is literally the opposite of everything we've been talking about, where it's the unscented version. And this is valuable in and of itself. Sometimes you just want the feeling and you just don't want any scent. And you're like, you know what? Just want the vibes.
That's actually a huge reason we did it. I had some picky friends, and that didn't want any fragrance on, but also the capitalist in me is obviously looking for things that are attractive to a market. And if you look on Amazon right now and you sort by most popular based on 5-star review beard oil, the most popular beard oil on Amazon right now is an unscented beard oil.
No shit.
Yeah, and so that was literally the reason we created it. It was like that. Some people don't want another fragrance on their body. Maybe you wear a cologne. Like some people wear cologne. Some people wear, other
deodorant.
things that have fragrances they like, body sprays or whatever else.
Even
and they don't want
just normal, just deodorant.
Yeah, some people have deodorant that's like really, they really like the smell. And if you're whistling Old Spice down the road all day long, maybe you don't want something interfering with that. So the number 0 was literally to speak to that audience. It was like, okay, well, if you don't want to mix fragrances, you don't want anything that smells like anything. It's for we originally made it for the grumpy old man customer, that didn't want any fragrance. I don't want to smell like flowers. I don't want to smell like sandalwood. And you're like, all right, well, how about you just go about smelling like nothing then?
Nothing works.
It worked out really, really well. And what's funny about the 0, we can touch on this for a minute. My fiance is she's gonna laugh at me for this one. There's lots of like after shower skin oils that women buy, right? They're like all over body oils, lotions, everything else. Like we've all looked in our girlfriends and wives' medicine cabinet and looked at the thousands of dollars of things that are in it and not known what the hell any of it is. And some of it, believe it or not, is just unscented carrier oil. And a lot of it has Barrage, grapeseed, jojoba, argan oils. And there's almond oil.
Yes, almond, yes.
Yeah. And what's funny is she used to work in a bar near Boston. And the bartenders, herself included, and her friends would get like dry, cracked hands from washing glasses or whatever else. And she was actually, we were selling the beard oil, the beard beer out of that bar. We had it on the counter behind next to the bottles, and people could buy it there. And they started using it on their hands. And then she's like, well, wait a minute. And she starts using it like, okay, well, how does this work getting out of the shower? Let's just see how it is for a moisturizer. And she has a number 0 sitting in her medicine cabinet now, and she puts it on after a shower. She, there's other like these crazy body oils she buys that are like $50 a bottle, and she likes the number 0 better. And so careful with the number 0, because if you're using it on your beard, your wife might steal it and use it elsewhere.
Ooh. Yo, that'd be good for the old northeastern winters, and when you get the cracked knuckles and stuff from the dryness in the air, you give yourself a little
absolutely
little once over.
After all, it is made to nourish the skin underneath the beard, so it can nourish skin anywhere. It's
great point.
It's really funny.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Don't make me try that.
Unintended benefit.
Yeah, that's honestly very, very cool. And the other thing I thought, the next product, this one was one of the most interesting to me, and I wasn't even sure about the use case specifically that you had in mind, but being the time of, human existence that we're living in, this almost doesn't get more pertinent and more now than anything. The beard sanitizer, shelter in face, which is obviously hilarious as it is. I mean, this to me, this was mine. Tell me if I'm on the right track. Obviously, the idea, we all were supposed to not be moving around as much to not spread a, communicable disease and such. Obviously, that's not possible. You have to go to the supermarket or you have to run errands and so on and so forth. And I imagine that the idea, particularly for someone, for men with beards, that, even if you're wearing masks, you take the mask on and off or whatever, and just things can get caught in your beard, which obviously is near multiple orifices in your face, which can obviously infect us. So by arriving back home and then giving yourself a bit of and it's an all over face spray according to the instructions. So I'm just like close my eyes. I'm like,
Oh
um,
yeah.
the idea is that will kill off a lot of those germs. If not, I imagine like the usual 99.9% or whatever it is, to reduce, just to cleanse your face when you come home from an outing.
Yeah,
Is
literally. I
that the
keep
point?
it in my car. And so like when I have a mask on and I get out of the store, I literally leave my mask on and just give it like a mist all over, hit it like one of those, and it gets
Yeah.
your mask and you kind of run it through your beard, take the mask off, throw it back in the glove box, and it sanitizes the outside of your mask, which is the part of the mask that comes into contact with germs. And it also sanitizes any part of your beard that was exposed. And at the same time, because you rub your hands through it, it sanitizes your hands.
Get
And so
fucked.
and what's cool about this is, again, we want to go all natural. And so this was a really hard product to develop. And what was interesting about it is trying to look at all natural sanitizers, right? What we use in this is called hypochlorous acid.
Okay.
And it sounds scary, but hypochlorous acid is actually naturally derived from an ionization process from water.
Okay.
And your white blood cells actually naturally produce hypochlorous acid inside your body as part of your immune system. And so your body actually produces hypochlorous acid internally in order to kill bacteria and germs that are unwanted inside your body. And so you're introducing something that's already native to your immune system. It's derived from water. And if you look at the regulation from the CDC right now about how they're sanitizing schools and they're sanitizing like commercial kitchens, like, those foggers that you see, like they're walking around schools with those big misting foggers
Yes.
sanitizing in between school sessions. That fog is hypochlorous acid. Those are
Right.
atomizers for hypochlorous acid distribution. It's food safe. Yeah, it's food safe. It's FDA approved. It's food surface safe, and it's safe for your eyes, your nose, your mouth, every orifice on your head. It's perfectly safe, and it's actually really cool because it doesn't just kill viruses. It kills bacteria, germs, airborne viruses. It kills fungus, mildew, and so what we wanted to do was kind of do something with that was also, once again, following the Dr. Nick's credo, that was good for your skin. And so my fiance actually developed this based on a micellar water facial toner that she likes to use. So she found a really good recipe that she liked for a facial toner. And then we worked the hypochlorous acid into it. We found a good way to emulsify and suspend a very light mixture of essential oil to give it a fragrance. And boom, Shelter in Face was born. And
That's great.
it's been fantastic. I keep it in my laptop bag when I walk out of meetings. I keep it in my glove box, walk out of stores. I have a friend who uses it like literally all day because he likes the way it makes his beard smell, and he likes the way it makes it feel because it has a little bit of some moisturizing properties with vegetable glycerin in there. So it actually does kind of give a little bit of a smoothing effect to your beard.
Right.
And this guy, I mean, I can't even get him to use beard oil. Like, I can't get him to use the beard oil, the balm, nothing. And he's like, he walks into my office and he's like, dude, I'm all out of this mist, man. I've been using it all day. I love it.
Like, hook me up,
I'm
hook
like,
me up.
Don't over apply the mist. You might be a little moist, but it's
Just a
we have a
little.
blood orange and we have a key lime
Yes.
fragrance. Those that are both very refreshing,
Yes.
and light. You can use it multiple times a day. There's no buildup. And so it's a really interesting, it's a really interesting product. There's others out there, and they're once again all alcohol based. They use alcohol to kill bacteria. And of all the things you want to spray on your face, alcohol should definitely be last on that list. I mean, it's terrible for your skin. It's terrible for your hair. And this was like the natural solution to that, essentially.
I love that. Okay, amazing. So it would sort of be, would you, in the way that I was testing the products over the past couple months, I was sort of opting out of beard oil and just spraying my face with the sanitizer after a shower, which obviously is a pretty dumb use. It's not what it was intended for, I guess, in hindsight. I just wanted to see what it did, what it felt like. Did it make, and I didn't probably even spray as much as you did. I just kind of do one, 3 or 4 across everything. But now hearing the way that you're talking about how to use it, you really can sort of spray it through your beard and really across your face. So it's sort of like a all-encompassing experience that kills the germs. Okay.
And there's nothing wrong with the way you were using it either. I mean, there is vegetable glycerin, it is a moisturizer, and it is a toner. So what you were doing essentially was applying a facial toner after your shower, which helps tighten your pores. It's actually, this type of toner is used in all sorts of like aging sprays that you can use to like anti-aging and to help like with wrinkles and to help tighten your skin and reduce the size of your pores. So you probably had some good side effect of that you didn't really even intend to. That was actually really good for your skin.
Amazing. Yeah, I really like this one because these two, like they said, blood orange and key lime, in comparison to the other scents, they were just, it was completely different, really. I mean, the other ones, obviously, we talked about some citrusy properties, but these ones were specific to a scent, and like I just appreciated that. But now I know I'm going to make sure that, like, we don't own a car, so we don't have to go too many places. We're in a pretty good spot, but whenever we go to like the supermarket or have to duck out for a bit, I think I'm going to make sure as soon as I get back, just like boom, 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 boom. And I love the idea of doing it over your mask, so it sanitizes your mask.
Yeah,
which is super dope.
I saw you grab a stout.
I grabbed the stout. Yes, I realized we were talking so long and having such a great convo that I kind of forgot to move on to the stout, but it's okay.
What are you drinking?
So this one is the beer.
Stout one.
The stout one isn't that? Yeah, it's the other black one. This one. That's the stout one. Oh, you put that for Tiff's taking the photos. You know what's going on. Put that. Do you want the can?
Pour it.
Okay, pour it. So this is a brewery called Sankey and Baron, like Fifth Baron, out of Gatineau, Quebec. A little bit north. They actually won the third best new brewery in the world according to Rate Beer this year, 2020.
Oh, wow.
They're good friends of ours. Yeah, the owner's a good friend. One of my other good friends who's a YouTuber, beer YouTuber, works there. This is a breakfast stout, 8.5%. I believe it might have some coffee in it, if I'm not mistaken. This is a phenomenal brew. I just got the fresh batch yesterday, so I was like, this is a perfect time to bust it out. And which one do you have there, my friend?
I have a Beachfire Stories from Vitamin Sea down here right north of us in Weymouth.
Yes.
It is I guess technically it is a chocolate peanut butter stout. But what's interesting about that is it is a 5.3%.
5.3. When you were telling me about this, I thought it was going to be much higher than that.
It's a session peanut butter stout. And like when you take a sip of this and you get it a little bit in your mustache, it smells like you just opened a can of Swiss Miss. Like it literally smells like Swiss Miss hot cocoa.
Swiss. Do you know what? That might be an American thing. I'm not super familiar, unless I'm just not from this continent.
It's like powdered, powdered hot cocoa mix.
Okay,
that you get
it's
in
like
the store.
Really rich and.
I mean, it doesn't look like a session.
No, that looks super dark, super thick.
It's super dope. Good. It's just one of those beers. Like, whenever you drink it and it's gone, you're sad that it's gone.
Nick, cheers, my bro.
Oh, this guy.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Get that in you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous. So the only beer, recently, speaking of, I know we're about to talk about some other stuff, but my friend Justin used to be the taproom manager for Lawson's. And I saw him, I don't know if you ever knew him if you were familiar with them, but he used to work at Farmhouse Tap and Grill in Burlington. That's how I met him. No. And then he ended up being
honestly sounds familiar.
Justin
like I've known everyone that's been in and out of Lawson's place over the years. I might.
I feel like you would know him. He was like a dude. Giles knows him, I'm pretty sure. But Justin, the reason I bring him up to do with the beer here, Justin gave me a 4-pack of I never heard of them, Vitamin Sea. When they first kind of came out, I guess 2019. Now they're pretty new, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think
Vitamin Sea. Yeah, I think they just opened late 2019, the end of summer. Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably when it was. I was in Vermont, and I always went to see him, and I brought him some beer from here. We do a little trade, and he gave me a 4-pack of some of their beers. I didn't know it was going to be any good, and that shit blew my mind. Whatever it was, I forgot the name of it, but it was like an IPA, maybe 8% double IPA, something like that, and it was exceptional. So
yeah,
I
they have just some crazy good beer.
Yeah, man. Massachusetts is god tier stuff, man. I'm just.
What's funny is like with Vitamin Sea, it's some good friends of mine that I've known for years and years. You know, this guy Dino, one of their founders. He was, we met. I think brewing at I think we actually met at the homebrew supply store in Weymouth because he was brewing in his garage. I was brewing in my garage, and a friend of ours that was the first bar to officially serve no crap on tap south of Boston. In 1999, Tom Powers from Union Brewhouse decided he was no longer going to put anything on tap but craft beer. Now, in 99, he was the only one that did it. You could buy a Budweiser in a bottle. You could buy Coors in a can, but there was nothing like that on tap at all in his bar. It was all local or otherwise sourced craft beer. And Dino and I kind of met through him, and he was brewing in his garage, and man, they were bringing in some of the stuff they were making with a buddy of his he brought in, and it was like you could tell they were on to something. And they got some, they kind of bootstrapped themselves, and they took on their own debt from a bank, no investors, no outside ownership, and they started this brewery up in Weymouth, and Vitamin Sea was born. And before the brewery was even open, and they had a wait list 2 years long for tap handles, tap accounts. There was like a couple of bars that were serving their stuff and new releases, and there was lines out the door and empty lines, empty keg lines. The night the stuff went on, and it just exploded. Jeez. It was such a cool grassroots, some guys that loved beer came up with some kick-ass recipes, and just they had no option in their mind that this is what they were going to do with it, and they just went and did it. And it's totally apparent in everything they do. Lots of attention to detail. Their brewmaster is a mad scientist, used to be a network engineer like myself, and so he engineered his way into awesome beer. And they're just awesome guys. If anyone out there hasn't checked them out, figure out a way to check them out, because they're worth it. They're killer.
Yeah, man, I got to get them on the podcast. I'll talk to you about that after, actually. But their stuff is killer. So that beer is along the lines of this bad boy right here, which is the Stout Beard Oil. Now, this is something incredibly unique in comparison to the rest. I mean, the scent profile, you got vanilla, coffee, and chocolate on here. And you look at and you're seeing this yellow stuff. And you're like, how does that smell like chocolate? Well, I say magic, Nick.
Yep. Yeah, there's a little bit of magic, a little bit of unicorn blood, potentially angel tears. There's a couple secret ingredients, but what really, honestly, the secret ingredients of this is our partnership with this lady from Miracle Botanicals in Hawaii. The cocoa essential oil that we get, she's one of the only people that actually produces cocoa essential oils. I mean, I have this stuff here, and I mean, it is,
my God,
potent. This essential oil that we put in this stuff, it is straight cacao essential oil. You look at the coffee that we use is literally cold pressed Arabica coffee. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that stuff right there. And it is, man, you smell this stuff. You open this bottle, and this room is going to smell like you just brewed a pot of really strong coffee.
Right.
And so, I mean, and then the secret in that one, you don't really smell it. You can't tell it's there, but the vanilla.
Oh yeah.
And if you've ever bought vanilla beans, really good Madagascar vanilla beans or anything else, you spend $20 and you get 2 vanilla beans in a freezer packed little
if you're
thing.
Lucky.
Yeah. And you scrape the beans out of them, and there you go. But that's by far the most expensive essential oil we use is the vanilla essential oil. It's extremely rare. It's extremely hard to find. I mean, I won't show the brand, but you can find stuff like this in your health food store, little bottles like that. These are 15 milliliters, so half-ounce bottles, and you can get them for $10. And a bottle this size of the stuff that we use is $115.
Good Lord.
And so it's, exponentially more expensive. That's why I say we have a terrible business model, and people should stop encouraging us, because we're just hemorrhaging money.
Don't stop. Hey man,
Yeah,
look,
please don't stop. Yeah,
it's the
candidly, we
craft
really
in
like
you, man. It's the craft. Like that shit is like appreciated, and I think it's undervalued in the market. That that attention to detail and that sort of like race to the bottom with the capitalist bullshit, which is like we're all
it. Yeah,
capitalists at heart, I guess. We're all living in these societies, and it's fine, but
we're all a little coin operated.
man, absolutely. But there has to be a limit to that. And in the industry that we're in, the fact that, this particular oil and, the beer that started all of this was influenced by craft, it's only right that you're dedicating yourselves to this and you guys, yourself and your fiance doing this, together and actually formulating it all and then working with people within the continent or just outside of, the continent or whatever part of the US. It's keeping it
Yeah,
American made, which I think is really important in this day and age to keep products as local as possible within the country at the very least, and in a time when the economy needs it. And you guys have, whatever you've done, somehow managed to make it affordable. Because I do not think the $20 for a thing of beard oil is unreasonable by any shape or form. Particularly people are saying like, oh, you get this much for $12 on Amazon. Like, so what, dude? It's $8 more, and you're supporting a fucking local company. Like, that's what it's
yeah.
all about. If you're a craft beer person, that will matter to you.
Yeah, dude, and that's I really appreciate that because that's 100% it. Like it's in
Yeah,
it's in the DNA of what we do, and it's why we did it. And it's one of those weird things where since we didn't set out to do this and we didn't have to do it, we weren't out to make money doing it, and so there's no option but to do it the way we feel like we should and we
yeah,
want, and that's and what inspired this was literally local artisans and the craft beer industry is what kind of gave me the idea of doing it this way in the first place. So straying away from that would literally break the whole motivation behind doing it.
yeah.
And so there's not one piece of it that we've ever compromised, because if it ever required compromise, then it's just not worth doing for us. And again,
That's
it's something
great.
that we want to be able to use, we want to be able to be proud of, we want to be able to be happy about it and be able to stand behind it. And I think doing it any other way wouldn't let us do that. It just like any of the breweries we just talked about. Look at like Treehouse, look at Vitamin Sea, look at Lawson's. Those guys, they would never sacrifice what they build as a product just to increase distribution
Yeah.
and shelf space.
No.
They do what they do because they love doing it. They love doing it the way they like doing it, and that's why they are successful the way they are, and that's why their fans love them. Is
Hell yeah.
because Lawson made his beer from well water behind his house in Vermont for the longest time. And that's why Double Sunshine was like one of the best IPAs in the world, is because
Big facts.
Sean's
Yeah.
magic water. And there's certain beers that didn't get reproduced when that production stopped happening that way,
Yeah.
because it's like that's what it was. And if it wasn't going to happen that way, it wasn't going to happen at all.
It seems to be like an ethos. That's why I like, as I kind of feel like we're all the same region. There's an imaginary border between us, but I feel like Quebec, is the extra part of New England type of thing. Is it all like carries down through Vermont and Maine, New Hampshire, and Mass and everything. Like, there's just something about this region and that ethos that carries through. Like, people just really care about quality and continue like keeping things local. I don't know, like I haven't really experienced anything else in many other regions like that. So it's really it's so dope to see that that the things that we all see and people listening and watching would be familiar in craft beer that carries down to businesses like, and I bet there's a whole bunch of businesses in the region as well that also have that same dedication to. We see it whenever we go to Vermont. There's the farms and maple manufacturers and all the different stuff, and there's people who just really just care about shit. It seems not that it's everywhere else doesn't, but there's something special about the way New England approaches stuff. It's like, I want to say magical, but it kind of feels like it sometimes. Like it's super.
Oh yeah.
It's super dope.
No, you're dead on. It's like the Ben Franklin generation of being utilitarian and self-made and keeping things that support other people that do the same. It's contagious. And maybe it is.
Yeah.
Who knows where it started and where the seed was planted, but it's I feel like the more people that do it, the more people feel like the need that in order to compete they need to also do it, which is just so cool. I mean, you're just prolificating something that's so positive and something that's really cool, and it works its way into it works its way into all sorts of industries. Like we work with barbershops that are local barbershops, and some of our accounts that we work with, I call them up and I tell them kind of our story and tell them where we're from, and we're either right down the street or right in the same within 100 miles, and they're like, you know what, like bring the products in for a sample. That sounds great, but please make sure you bring enough where we can buy some, because you're the only one doing this. It's unique and it's local. We want to support you. So like, they're like, this is probably a bad thing to say as a potential customer, but we kind of don't care. Just bring it in. We're going to buy it because we want to support what you're doing. And it's an awesome story and we like it. And then they smell it and they try it and they're like, oh, holy shit, wow, this is actually really awesome. On top of being a cool story, we really like your product. So, it's kind of a cool how it works,
I love
one
that,
hand
man.
washes the other.
Yes, exactly. It's and that's really key, right? I imagine you'd go into a barbershop and it would be important, when I know, funnily enough, Giles and I met in Vermont, and Giles is he works with you guys, who's the reason we know each other. He's a good friend. He's been on the podcast back in the day, and him and I share the same barber in Montreal. So when he comes to Montreal, we just happen to go to the same barber. It was actually great. I don't know if, did he tell you that? We just, like, I was talking to, he didn't tell you that shit?
He did mention that to me. Yeah, I didn't hear much detail behind it. He's like, no. Craig's a great guy. He's an awesome dude. You guys are getting along great. We use the same barber.
It was like I was getting my hair cut, and I was telling my barber, Dave, shouts to Dave, and I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to Vermont. So he's like, yeah. I got one of my clients that I cut. He lives in Vermont. He owns like a ski thing. I'm like, yeah, where is it? And what's it called? And he zoomed in on it. I was like, oh, ski thing in Vermont. Interesting. I wonder if it's Giles. Probably not. And he found the name of it. And he's like, yeah, that's it. I was like, and it just worked out to be. I'm like, dude, that's my boy. Like, I've known him for years. And we just couldn't believe that it happened to be the same dude. So whenever he was in town, we tried to sync up our haircuts. Like, oh, he's coming. Like, bro, I'm coming in. You want to get a cut? I'm like, all right, cool. Let me try and book it. Like, so it was just like a genuine, crazy coincidence. And
it's so funny because he's connected me with people like that too. I've met other people who are connected to Giles. He's like one of the hubs of New England. I feel like running that hostel, like everybody knew him, but on top of being just one of the best dudes in the world, like he's wildly regarded as one of the best dudes in the whole world. And like I can personally stand behind that. One of the best dudes I've ever met. Yes. And he's introduced me to some of the coolest people that I know. Like, it was so funny because I'd be like trying to do things with either this or with photography or something else. I'd be like, oh, I'd really like to get in contact with so-and-so and work with them. He's like, pulls out his phone. He's like, oh, you want me to call him? I'll call him right now. I can get over here. Let's just have him come over.
It's he's a special dude. I think that's like, it's such a valuable thing. And it's just, it's very cool to see all of, I met him through this randomly. I think he just reached out to us on Instagram. We happened to be doing our first ever proper Vermont trip. I was like, yeah, let's come by. And I didn't really understand even what he did. So we had this very small bar in this ski hostel in Warren, Vermont. And it was gorgeous because he had the most fire, which is why I love Vermont. It doesn't matter where you go. Like, I dare you to try and get shit beer somewhere. Like, it could always, exactly. Everywhere
you won't find McDonald's and you won't find shitty beer. Like, it's the two awesome things about that part of Vermont.
Honestly, it's so dope. And just knowing him and just keeping in touch with him over the years and becoming friends from just becoming, it doesn't always happen, right? You go on the podcast and always have great conversations, but you don't become mates with people. He's come and stayed at the crib. Like, we went out for dinner here for my birthday a couple years ago and stuff. Like, he came up for it. Like, he's like such a gem of a dude. One thing he taught me about, and I mentioned this to someone recently, that it's a simple concept, but I loved it. He was talking about beer karma. And whenever we'd go down to Vermont, I would come and I'd bring like a cooler full of beer from up here for him, and he would give me the same from there. But he would have shit. He'd give me Treehouse and Trillium and like just crazy Massachusetts shit and like, sometimes Russian River and like all this crap. I'm like, how the fuck do you get this stuff, dude? Like, what? He's like, beer karma, bro. Beer karma.
Beer karma.
He gets people come through here. I just give them whatever they need. They just give me whatever I want. And there's just this energy flow of beer. And I'm like, fuck, that's genius. I love it.
It's crazy, dude.
And it's like influenced the way that
it's so true.
It is. And it's almost like it's influenced the way that I look at beer. Like Like, I'm like, oh, I've only got one can of this. I'm like, but Nick will really appreciate it. Like, Nick, you need this. And that's the way he thinks. And I've really tried to, because I'm a beer media, sometimes people give me stuff because they need me to take the photo of it. So it's almost like maybe if I have one, I have to do it because they want it. But if I've got two, I'm like, take my second one, please. This is going to be fire, but you need to try this. And I just, there's something beautiful about that. And I really appreciate the whole concept. And I think that just generates friendships, opportunities, shared positive energy that comes back to what you said before about just like local people in New England, say just this whole area of the world that just care about people and about cool, good shit and just wanting to keep things moving. It's
oh, dude,
it's really
you're
dope.
dead on. Yeah, you're dead on. I think Giles actually sort of like opened me up more to that, you know, because I did photo events at beer places and then ended up at his, and we became really good friends over the years. And many a late night in the kitchen at the hostel, hanging out, wrapping up the night, sampling beers, and with the famous last words of, okay, well, one more, I got this in the cooler, and well, okay, well, one more, let's try this, you know.
Always,
but it's
right?
just so funny because you'll go to these places up there in Vermont and there's like, you know, lines of thousands of people outside these events to come meet and greet with these brewers like Sean and, you know, Mike Kimmich from Alchemist, and, you know, just all sorts of dudes, the guys from Otter Creek, and like everyone's there to like meet and greet these guys. And then I go back to Giles's place and like who's standing at his bar, but like everyone that had lines of people waiting to see them that day. Like that's where they went to go kick it, like at the end of the day, to unwind at Giles's bar and eat some cheeseburgers that Sarah made in the kitchen and like have some beers. And everyone would have stuff they shared. Like everyone's got a growlers or a thing of cans, and you know, there's like Dean from Treehouse, and there's like Sean Lawson and his wife Karen over there hanging out, and they're pouring stuff for everybody to try. And it was just like I don't know, it opened up like a whole new world. And it was literally like, that dude was like the hub of that
the connector
world
of that
for so long.
I was devastated when they did sell it, because I was like, oh man, that's just like such a wonderful connecting place that's kind of might not have that same energy anymore. But you know, I guess it's you know, you've always got to move on to new things, so I respect it.
Yeah, it was like my home away from home up there. Like honestly, I haven't been back to Vermont since he closed it, because I'm like, well, where am I gonna go?
Yeah, right. Well, you want to go to
like,
each brewery? Like,
unless I can go explore and do my thing, but as long as I had like that as like my home base to go back to, I was comfy. So I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't really have a place up there anymore.
Every trip, that's where we went to as well. It was like every single trip. I'm like, Giles, what are you saying? When are you around? Can I come see you? He's like, yeah, I'm working, but come by, don't worry. And it was always just, So now it's more like, okay, well, I'll come see you, but just not at the bar now. So, but obviously it's been a year
exactly,
because of the. We happened to have been there the weekend before the lockdown, not knowing, and it was like. So I'm glad we got in like the closest possible time to be in Vermont from here before the border closed. It's been literally closed for a year. And
you weren't there for like the last call bell ring, were you? The bar?
No, not jar stuff. No, I think that I was there. It was like 6th, 7th, and 8th of March last year.
Okay.
And then the weekend after was lockdown, as far as like everywhere kind of shut down. When we were there, people were like sanitizing a bit, but no masks yet.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, you could still go places. Everything was open, but people were just sanitizing a bit and were like, oh, no, I'm good, like type of thing. But I know I wasn't there for the final thing. When did it close?
God, I don't know when that was. I think I've literally blocked it out of my head. Like there has not been anything I've watched on Facebook that actually like got me teary-eyed. Like there was a grown-ass tattooed bearded man crying on my couch, and it was me when I watched that video. Like he just rang the last call, and I was like, damn it, no.
Gillis, oh gosh. Well, you know, maybe he'll open his own place again in a whole new spot or something eventually, if that's where his path is. Either way, he's a valuable individual. That's keep it. Yeah.
He's gonna watch this video. He's gonna watch this now and be like, oh damn it. All right. Let's go back.
You have to, Giles. If you're not watching right now, I'm going to text you in a second, you prick. You better bloody start a new place, because me and Nick are going to be pissed.
That's right.
God damn it. Speaking of, I was trying to do a segue. There ain't no segue. Your hat and your T-shirts are, as we alluded to at the beginning of the conversation, you have some really fun collaborations, official collaborations. I mean, you've got your own IPA and stout beard oils that are phenomenal in their own right, but you're taking this to the next level. Can you please elaborate?
Yeah, we are taking that to the next level. So this hopefully this summer, we're going to be introducing the Dr. Nick's Brewmaster Series, where
Hell
we are
yeah.
selecting and working with brewmasters to let them basically create scent profiles and co-brand beard oils with us. And so the first of those that we're doing is going to be in collaboration with Vitamin Sea.
Hey.
And we're going to work with them to basically develop a really cool scent profile that they like based on one of their IPAs. And we're going to kind of come up with what works to make that happen. It will likely involve some fresh hops. Once again, they're going to be limited releases, so we can actually go back to doing dry hopped style beers. There'll be limited number of bottles per brewer. And basically, we're going to work with the brewmaster and another sponsor at the brewery to come up with the ingredients, the style, the name, and we're going to be using some of their artwork on our bottles and vice versa. And what's going to be really cool about it is we're going to primarily sell those at the brewery. So we're not going to sell them online. We're not going to sell them through any of our retailers. They're going to be exclusively available at the brewery for the most part. We might do like a limited run on the website for each one, but we're thinking just like the craft beer, like if you want their beer, you don't go to the store and buy it. You go stand in a line and you buy your 4-pack of cans and you pay your dues and you leave with some good beer. While you're there, you'll also be able to buy your beer to beer in the sense of buying some Brewmaster Series Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff beard oil. And the first one's going to be with Vitamin Sea. We've already been working and talking back and forth with the guys over at, socializing it over with the guys at Treehouse, trying to figure out the same thing. And then, God, I'm surprised he's not first on the list because he's the first one I talked to about it would be Sean Lawson, which is where we are going to do something like a double sunshine Brewmaster Series IPA beard oil. And so I've talked to Karen and I've talked to Sean about it like so many times over the years, but it's usually been after doing a long day of photos, usually at the hostel. We both haven't picked up the conversation to get it back going again. But so there's a few that are right there on the list. We have a few more that are less official that I can't really mention yet, but more New England style, some more popular New England breweries that were all part of the New England Crossroads Brew Off that Vitamin Sea won amazingly not too long back. Trying to get my buddy Mike Gearhart, who's involved, who's just an excellent dude, used to be the brewmaster over at Otter Creek. I think there's going to be some really, really cool stuff coming out of that. Letting somebody else kind of into the recipe book and working with someone who just develops awesome profiles for beers, developing some awesome profiles for some beard oils is just going to be wildly fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that's going to be hopefully this summer is when we're hoping for midsummer is when we're going to be announcing that, and hopefully it'll be hitting the breweries and the tap line, the can lines shortly after.
That's amazing. That's huge. I mean, that's 3 large breweries right there. That's super exciting. I love the concept of selling them directly from the brewery, and people lining up to buy their 4-packs, and then they walk away with a nice little bottle or 2 of beard oil as well. Like it's smelling like a double sunshine. Like, that's amazing. Like,
yeah, my only hope is that people actually use it. The problem with craft beer people at some of those breweries in particular is like when those guys release something new, like I talk to some of them and they're like, the saddest part about being like so niche and hard to get and boutique with our beer is that like we find out that people put our beer on a shelf and they collect it instead of drink it.
Which is
our only hope is that people actually use it. They're not just buying it for the label art and to do it. But we're thinking it'll be good for the brand, and it'll just be something fun and collaborative and different. It's just, and what's really cool, again, we talk about like people liking to support craft and supporting things that are unique like that. Like you'd think that getting those people involved would be like this challenging process of them being like, well, I'm up here and you're down here, and I don't know if we can co-brand things with anybody. Like literally the first response out of all of them was like, oh man, if we can use our platform to help you do more of what you're doing, like let us know how we can do it. Like that sounds amazing. Let's let's do it. Come
That's
over.
so cool, man.
You know, and everything from sharing artwork to sharing recipes to sharing ingredients. I mean, these guys have just been like so forthcoming with the way that they've offered their involvement. In it, we almost didn't even have to ask. Like we kind of like proposed the idea, and they're like, "Do you want to do that? Do you want to do something that's like a collaboration? Why don't you come over and we'll meet and go over ingredients?" You know, it was
That's
like
awesome.
the coolest thing ever. It's very like humbling in the sense that like these big dudes that are like globally known for what they do are willing to get involved with a little 3-person operation that makes beard products. You know, it just goes to show that like the attitude isn't there. There's no egos. Like there's just, it's such a cool community of people. And it's all because of craft beer. You know, it's like it started this and then it's helping just drive it further, which is like, I don't know. It's just such a cool feeling to be involved in that and have that be the basis of what we do.
I love it, man. I guess I obviously recognize your approach being similar to theirs, you know, with the quality ingredients and never sacrificing and making sure that, you know, if it's not, you're never going to sacrifice the essential oils for these cheaper fragrance stuff. Like they know that you're serious, and there's that reputation you built over the years, and you know it's paying dividends, my man. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. So definitely stay tuned here, guys. We'll be talking about that when that comes up. You know, I'm sure there's some other things we could do for other podcasts or other things between us all to you know let people know about these things when they drop, which we'll keep in touch about. Another thing that's happening tomorrow, Uncle Nick, if I may call you that, is we're doing a contest. We're doing a contest, a nice giveaway via BAOS for Dr. Nick's Amazing Man Stuff. We've got 2 prize packs of 2 winners open to all of North America. Prize pack number 1, please correct me if I am not. They're going to have 1 of each of the IPA and Stouts and 1 of each of the sanitizers. Is that correct with Jill there?
Yep.
She knows? Yep.
So I'm getting the nod from the person who knows.
Yes.
Yeah.
I really paid attention. I paid attention. Now that is prize pack number 1. That's okay, no pokes. And then the second one, now I've got half of the stuff here. So you're going to get a number 7 balm and a number 7 beard oil and a number 9 beard oil and a number 9 balm. I'm just missing one of the each, but basically these 2 are going to get 4. So there's going to be 2 lucky winners to receive that. So stay tuned. Whoopsie. Stay tuned to BOS. That'll launch tomorrow afternoon. And that is going to be great. You're going to be seeing a lot more of Amazing Man stuff here on BOS over the next few months. I'm just like, man, I'm just a big fan of what you guys are doing. I'm really glad we connected. You know, honestly, this could be a 4-hour podcast very, very easily.
Yeah, I'd say the next one we just need to grab one of my buddies over. Like once we do the Brewmaster Series, let's grab Dino and one of the guys from over at Vitamin Sea, and we'll just do like a big group. We'll just get together in a room. We'll go over there, and we can have you there and us on camera somewhere else, and we'll crack some beers and talk about that, and we'll get them involved on the next one. I just volunteered Dino for that on air. Like that. I'm sure he's gonna love that.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna be like, "All right, goddamn it!" But yeah, I was actually gonna say to you,
"How can you be mad at this face?
How can you say, look at that beard?" You'd be like, "All right, okay, Nick, whatever you want." I was gonna say that. I was gonna say you off air. I was gonna be like, "Yo, let's do a series of podcasts surrounding the Brewmaster Series. Every time you do one, it'd be you with the brewery, and we'd drink some beers and talk about the stuff, man. Like, I just love that you're doing this and you're doing it official. It's not like, hey, my little version of this. You're like, no, I'm collaborating with these, like you said, globally known brands that are important to Massachusetts and Vermont. You know, it's glorious. I'm honored to be part of it. This is phenomenal. And this is the start of hopefully a long relationship and, you know, letting people know what the fuck is up, taking care of your goddamn skin and your beard. That's what it's all about. And
stop
also
fucking around.
And you know what? If you don't have a beard, as we learned, you can use our good friend number 0 as a nice little moisturizer for skin.
Yeah, use it wherever you want. You know, no one's gonna know.
It keeps you luscious. It's glorious.
It does.
It's perfect.
Keep you pedal soft.
Yo, do you know what we need to do? We need to take the thumbnail for YouTube. So I'm going to take a screenshot of here. People are used to this at this point. So you want to hold up either the beers or some oils. I am going to elect to hold up some oils. Oh, you know what? You are a champion, a gentleman, and a scholar.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do? Where's the can?
Yeah, hold the can up. I wish I didn't have to hold the thing. Otherwise, I have 2 hands. There you go. Perfect. You ready? Gorgeous. That is stunning. Oh, that was
Love
just
it.
made for it. Nick, thank you so much for your time, man. This has been really, really great, really enlightening. I genuinely appreciate it. Where can everybody find Dr. Nick's Amazing Man stuff online, sir?
They can find us at www.drnicks.com. That's spelled out now, DOCTORNICKS.com. And just for watching, right? We're going to activate a promo code starting tomorrow morning that we talked about earlier.
Talk to me.
Just your viewers, just the people that we want to say thank you for watching, people that look at these promos. It's going to be BAOS21 is going to be the discount code, and that's going to give you 15% off on anything.
Oof.
We always offer free shipping over $40. We have some bundles coming out, all sorts of good stuff. And again, we're real people. You have questions, you want to know about stuff, hit up the contact form on the website. Let us know. We will spend unreasonable amounts of time making you comfortable with your purchase and making sure that you're getting what you need. So again, it's BAOS21 is the discount code for 15% off. It'll be live tomorrow morning.
I'm going to put all of that, I will put all of that information in the description here on the video. And for those listening later on the audio, this will also be in the show notes in the across any podcast platform. And also tomorrow being Friday, the 2nd of April, we have, depending on when you're listening to this, definitely check out BOS Instagram for the contest. Also, make sure you follow at Amazing Man Stuff on Instagram, and I believe it's the same elsewhere. Is that correct?
It is. The same on Instagram and Facebook. Nice and easy.
That's all you need to do.
Amazing Man Stuff across the socials, drnicks.com online.
That's what it is. So I'm going to wrap this up. Stay around on the end of this, and we'll wrap up after. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed the episode, mate, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast, and check out the long form audio so you can hear attractive gentlemen like Uncle Nick talk about craft beer and beards, because that's what we're about over here. Every week, we'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. We'll see you then, guys. Get it in.